Good morning, everybody. Hard-working ways on a Thursday, I think it is. I just got Monday's video posted on a Thursday morning, so that'll be up whenever you get to it today. I reviewed my videos and had a chance to remind myself, make reminders for yourself. That's today's video that I posted, not the one I'm about to do. What the question was from the viewer, and I mentioned something about working on the addition, right, and then doing the insulation in wall heat and sheetrock, and the person picked out and asked me, can you talk about in-wall heat? Sure. In-wall heat, really simple concept. So let's just start with the basics. You get different types of heat. You have electric heat, you have any type of fuel driven heat, propane, natural gas, fuel oil, kerosene, whatnot. You could be heating just air, blowing ducted air around. You could be heating water, pushing it through baseboards would have been traditional, or older style radiators, cast iron radiators for a long time, and things like that, right? So in the last 20 years or so, maybe a little longer, I'm not 100% up on the history, hydronic heating became very popular. In-floor heat. In-floor heat, hydronic heating is basically a lower temp water. Might not have been lower temp to start with, but then condensing gas boilers are now available, so they can condense. You can run colder water temps. So hydronic heating, you're taking and putting, like in-floor heat, the tubing, and usually a heat plate, a transfer plate, right underneath the floor, subfloor. Then you heat the floors of your entire house. You put them in the concrete slab. If it's a single story on a slab, or concrete slab if it's a basement, and you keep that slab and that floor at constant temperature and heats the room with some limitations, right? You can't make the floor so hot that you don't want to walk on it. That hot tarmac, hot sand feeling on your feet, you can get that. You can turn the water temp up hot enough with in-floor. So we have this old farmhouse that I've spoke about that we are remodeling. Been working on remodeling. Well, when we added the addition, I stepped back and I went and talked to a family member of mine that does heating systems for a living. And the existing house has hot water baseboard, which when I did the addition, I had to take the chimney down and things like that. I switched the entire house to a newer combi condensing gas boiler. To do in-floor heat in the new part of the house, no big deal. To do in-floor heat in the old part of the house is a massive deal, because you have already low ceiling height, you have really thick old wood floors, 3.5 inches. You're never going to put in-floor heat under that and push up, so you end up with on-floor. You put the subfloor on top and you put your heat grid in it. On-floor, you can build it yourself. It's a lot of work. Not that in-wall is any less, but on-floor chews up ceiling height. You're back to that limitation of your upper temp limit because of the hot foot feeling. So we talked it over. They've been doing in-wall heat. You can do in-wall, and I talked to a couple people, actually, my cousin, another good friend who's very, very involved with redoing an older house himself, and he's done on-floor because he had the ceiling height. So we talked about the differences. You can take and put hydronic heating, if you do a reading on it, just about anywhere. In a floor, in a wall, in a ceiling. It all accomplishes the same thing. You're heating that surface. You're heating everything to a constant temp. That whole floor surface, ceiling surface, wall surface. You're using it as a radiator. So said, let's do in-wall in the whole house. Let's do in-wall in the addition. So then I don't have two different temperatures. I don't have a mixing valve. We're just gonna put all the heat tubes in the wall, so the entire heating system runs at the same temp. You can run higher temps in a wall if needed. So people, in my reading, a lot of places, like Europe, they've been doing it in old houses for years because you can get away with, per the reading I've done, less square footage of transfer plate, of hydronic heating, because you can run that higher water temp if needed. If you can get it 1-to-1 with your floor space square footage, no different than you do with in floor heat, then you can start dialing back that water temp, getting that water temp down maybe in the 90s, which is not very far to heat your water out of a brand new boiler. With outdoor reset programmed in, you're talking a huge amount of fuel savings. So that's why the in-wall thing became the pick on my project. It was easier to get the tubes in the old house walls, way easier than getting them in the floors. The success of me getting them in the floors would have been less. I would have chewed up more ceiling height. And if you do it on, I've done some outside walls, your exterior walls, they're already insulated behind them and naturally wants to drive the heat in. I've done some walls that weren't exterior walls, I did a wall between my kitchen, my laundry room and my downstairs bathroom. I'll try to find some pictures. I put racks in vertical, put the heat plates in towards the tub shower, and then brought the loop back around, put heat plates and a rack out towards the washing machine, the dryer, and the laundry room, so one wall serves two rooms. Back to back. One's going to go in, one's going to go in. And I came around the corner and put a little more heat plate in that laundry room because that's going to be a door open and close. There's going to be some cold coming in there in the winter. And in that wall between the two rooms, because it wasn't insulated, I just stuck rock wool between. So it naturally wants to drive the heat out into the two rooms. One side's going to go to the backer behind the washer and dryer. The other side's it goes right to where the shower is in the bathroom, which is a standard fiberglass tub right now. But in the future, that's coming out. You'll have a standard fiberglass tub base, and then you'll have a tile surround. Well, 1/2 inch of sheetrock and 1/4 inch of tile, there's 3/4. That's the thickness of your standard subfloor. Now the entire tile shower wall becomes a radiator, right? So in the wintertime, that whole shower space becomes a heater. That'll heat the whole bathroom. By far. It's that square footage of heated wall is 2/3 of that entire room. It's gonna be fine. So we're not running it yet, but that's the concept, and that's what we're doing. And I have no doubts it's gonna work, because I've seen some really terrible, and so has my cousin, I've seen some really terrible in-floor heat installs. I've seen people staple the tube right to the subfloor, not even put in heat plates. And it by far not the most efficient, but it works, it runs, right? So we're designing it as close to possible, 1-to-1, for if we would have done in-floor heat, to get enough heat plate in the walls to have a similar design water temp for if I had in-floor heat. But the heat plates and the tubes are just in the walls. We try to keep the tubes below the 4-foot level. If you're gonna hang pictures and stuff, if you can't do it because you're limited to access and you have to cover an entire wall, you fire the system up and you use a temp gun. Keep track of where the tubes are. It's one thing you got to really pay attention to. You don't want to drive a screw through your water line in your wall. It's not like a water line in a wall is unheard of. Running water lines all in-wall heat, and that's the goal. We work this weekend, got a bunch more insulation done. I'll dig up some pictures of my setup. There's a ton of pictures online. It's not a very common topic. I bring it up, a lot of people go, I've never heard of doing that. Well, go on Google, type in wall radiant heating. There is a pile of info and pictures on it. The concept, like I said, is not new. I've seen people do some really creative, like chair rail type setups with like a baseboard on the wall, or like a beadboard. You know, you can make it look really ornate. They just brought the wall out, stepped it out a couple inches to get the heat plates and everything in, and the plumbing, and kind of has that old school look to a room. You know, if you don't even want to tear a wall apart, there's some really creative things you can do with it outside of chopping up the floor, and use it to, as a way to not only improve the heating system, but add some unique design elements to a room in the process without tearing stuff apart. If you're thinking about maybe some more visibly appealing features to a room. So, in-wall radiant heat. I'm off to work after this chopped up week with a holiday and a day off. Excuse me. Stay awake. Stay positive.